Hi there, my name is Owen Crosby, and I'm an Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services in the Huntington Beach Union High School District. Before this position, I've been a principal of two comprehensive high schools, assistant principal, a coordinator of curriculum instruction, activities director, and a math teacher. Tonight, as we get talking, I want to share a little bit about how we've developed a multi-tiered systems of support and have used that to help shape school culture. So as we start off, I'll just like to share with you a little bit of demographic information about our school district. In Huntington Beach, we have 9 schools, 6 comprehensive high schools, 2 alternative schools, and 1 adult school. We have about 16,000 students district-wide, and from there you can see our demographic breakdown. And over on the right-hand side, I've just listed a couple of the programs, outstanding programs we have on our campuses. AP and IB, Academy of Performing Arts. We have dual enrollment programs, plenty of STEAM opportunities, hybrid online courses, credit recovery options. We're a strong AVID district and also have plenty of CTE pathways. Today I want to talk to you about the importance of school culture and how we've used our multi-tiered systems of support to focus on school culture. But before I get there, I want to provide some background. I'm sure you've all heard of the pyramid of interventions, where the base of the pyramid represents your base program or the program that all students receive. Starting at the base, students would progress up the pyramid based on their individual needs. Many times when a student got to the tip of the pyramid, they were then recommended for special education, whether or not they oftentimes needed it. Since then, there has been much discussion and focus on the concept of base program, and more importantly, the phrase all students. And this is where our multi-tiered systems of support comes into play in our district. In Huntington Beach, MTSS is not a program, it is everything that we do. MTSS is the umbrella in which everything else is underneath. It's a different model than the previous pyramid that we saw. Under this model, the focus is on the base program that all students receive. The focus is to provide early interventions to support students' individual needs. It encompasses a student's academic, behavioral, and social-emotional needs. One very important point is that students are at the center, and as you can see the word whole child in the middle. MTSS focuses on creating a culture in which all students can succeed. We like to say around here, curriculum is not king, students are. It's about creating a positive, supportive, inclusive culture where relationships matter most. When school sites begin to look at developing a multi-tiered system of support, the key is to begin by examining your current systems and find ways to enhance them, but truly looking at them through a lens of all students. This is a resource from the Swift Education Center that we have used, which further describes MTSS and the 4 different domains that schools can focus on when doing this work. When we began this work several years ago, we chose to focus on creating a strong and positive culture and the administrative leadership aspects behind that. But since then, we have expanded beyond that. As you'll notice when you look a little closer at the strong and positive school culture, it talks about fostering collaborative relationships, creating a shared vision, identifying ways for all staff members to contribute, and ensure that all students have access to all resources, including things like extracurricular resources. To do this work and impacting school culture, it takes a tremendous amount of leadership from not only your site leaders, your administrators, but also from your teacher leaders. And it became imperative that we put teams from each school into a room where they could talk about developing a vision, talking about how do we create opportunities for staff members to learn more about this and really train staff members on what it means to create an inclusive culture on campus. A lot of times we talk about having an inclusive culture, but there are times when we don't necessarily always demonstrate that in our actions, our behaviors, our programs, and such. So by focusing on these two things, that really forced our school sites to really take a deep dive into what it meant to create a culture where all means all. This graphic depicts some of the aspects of our systems that we've either worked closely with recently to enhance, or areas that we've added in the past to help our schools create that positive and supportive, inclusive culture that I talked about earlier. One that I like to highlight is the early warning system, which is a system that was created internally by our staff to help monitor student success and then provide proactive support to students who demonstrated a need for additional support. Using our student information systems, which is ARIES, as the basis for our systems of support, we had a group of people come in the room and really determine what were those critical data points that we wanted to measure really and update daily, so that teachers and administrators could have that at their fingertips when they needed to look and see, okay, who are the students that we want to make sure are getting the extra support. And by doing so, what that has allowed us to do is help our staff members identify those students who may need some additional support, pull them in, get to know them a little bit more, get to know a little bit more about their story and how we can help support them maybe differently than we have other students. And by doing so, again, helps us to connect with them and learn more about them. Another aspect that I like to highlight are our MTSS TOSAs, or Teachers on Special Assignment. Each school site has a dedicated teacher who is given release time with the primary focus of helping staff learn new strategies that can be used in the classroom to support students' individual needs. These teachers are the ones who teach teachers, who then in turn work directly with the students. Our MTSS TOSAs do not have a caseload, do not necessarily see students, but again, their primary role is to help work with teachers on classroom strategies, provide professional development to teachers on ways that we can better support individual student needs in the classroom. When looking to help shape culture, there are really no quick fixes to this. It has taken us several years to get to where we are, and we have plenty of room to grow. But it also takes a lot of strategic planning and working as a community to help put this in place. This slide here demonstrates our path, or our journey, as we have progressed forward, and also describes some of the areas or some of the systematic areas that we have embedded within our system. So to highlight that, some of the partnerships that we have grown with our county has been tremendous and been a tremendous support for us. Being able to do a needs assessment to really help determine the professional development needs of our teachers. And then also we've built in monthly MTSS meetings and systematic checkups where we get together and share best practices across our district, so people can learn from each other. Finally, I want to leave you with this quote from a student in Oakland, which I believe highlights the most critical aspect of the work we do: creating schools that have positive, supportive, inclusive cultures. His quote is, "If you are serious about closing the achievement gap and bringing equity to our most vulnerable students, don't continue to neglect school climate, or in our case, culture." Thank you very much for your time.